Hey, it's Luke Farley here from iGen Entrepreneur, and in this video I'm going to be joined by Thomas Parkinson from Fast Track FBA. Thomas Parkinson is looking at doing 7 figures in sales over the next 18 months. I say next because he's already started it, and he's going to update us on how that's going. And then we're also going to be looking at should you be using a prep center, reasons for and reasons against, as well as top tips for managing your virtual assistants. And stay tuned because, well, I really want to help you. So what I've done is I've actually put together an opportunity for you to get a free strategy call worth £189, and I'm going to tell you about that at the end of the video. All right, so thanks for joining me today, Thomas, in this lovely weather in Gran Canaria. For those who don't know you, do you want to just quickly summarize sort of where you're at the moment?
Cool. Thank you very much for inviting me, Luke. So if you don't know, my name is Thomas Parkinson and I'm an Amazon arbitrage seller. And also I run another business called Fast Track FBA. We help Amazon sellers. I've been selling on Amazon now 4 years, doing arbitrage. And like Luke, we are very blessed to be able to do our businesses remotely and in pretty much a very small number of hours per week. So that's what I do, and today I'm joining Luke in Gran Canaria in the beautiful sun in November to obviously film this video. So thank you very much for having me.
All right, awesome. So I know that you've got a challenge going on, and if I'm right in saying you want to hit 7 figures in, is it over an 18-month period? Awesome. And I mean, for some people watching that's £1 million in revenue. That's crazy. So how are you planning on doing that, and how's it going? So I think it's been going for maybe 3 or 4 months now. Is that right?
So thank you. I've been obviously around the world. I was living in Hanoi, Vietnam, and my life was good. Like, my God, I was living like the 4-hour work week. I wasn't working very much, but I kind of just said, like, what am I doing? And I really looked at my staff. I was like, what are they doing? Is their job just to turn up for work? And it's like, what's our goal? What's our ambition? What's our dreams? What do we want to strive for success? What do we want to grow? Where do we celebrate that success? And quite simply, I said, let's set something big. Let's something really, really big. And I said, £1 million. My God, £1 million. That's insane. That's a lot of money. And I literally said, right, let's do $1 million. And I kind of thought about it, and I said, well, the 12 months, I could possibly do it, but it's going to be like insanely impossible. But I said, over 18 months, there's a realistic plan that I could do it, and I could map that out, and I could literally break it down step by step, and I could say it's going to be a challenge. I'm never going to lie about that. It's a real challenge. But that is a really big goal to hit for me as a person, for my business, but also as well to document, share with the wider Amazon community, and I love it. So like you said, we've been doing it now for technically 4 months as of right now, but about a couple of weeks ago I just did my Q3 update, and it's been really good. So a quick headline, we've pretty much done just shy of the revenue figures. I mean, I think we were looking to 120,000 over the course of 3 months. We're doing about 119, so about £1,000 off. Profitability is pretty much there. It's a couple of £1,000 shy, but I think for a 4-hour work week, I'm pulling in about £3,500 profit, which is really nice. And the other thing is as well is that we've actually invested quite heavily in the business, so that's brought that profit figure down from where we originally thought. So I documented it all on my channel, but because we've invested so heavily, and the reason is it's quite simply now Q4 COVID, we just think there's a real opportunity, and we can plan it out as per the budget and make it happen over the 18 months. But you know what, I think we might be able to take advantage of this Q4 right now. So we're investing, putting a lot more staff in just to get the result, and it's wonderful. And my team have been working super hard, and I'm really happy, and we've smashed a new record just this month, or last month, should we say, and this is wonderful. And it's great to see that celebration, the recognition, and to see that with my team, and also the business as a whole. And my God, doing it on 2 to 3 hours a week out here in the Gran Canaria, that is amazing.
Could be worse, could be worse.
It could definitely be worse.
Oh, that's awesome. I suppose first thing I wanted to discuss, which I see a lot, and it's a no-brainer for us, but prep centers, and more specifically, who is a prep center right for, who is a prep center not right for, and just any general thoughts there, and then I'll weigh in with any of my ideas as well.
Cool. Okay, so I think the question is, who is a prep center right for? Well, if I give you a bit of background, in my 4 years, I've pretty much always used a prep center. I started with a prep center, and the question might be is why? Like, why start with a prep center? Yes, it's a cost cost. Everyone's like, oh my God, keep your costs low. I get that, I really do. But I also understand that your time is an asset which you'll never get back. And that's probably more important than the cost factor, because you're going to earn the money again. So for me personally, I always started with a prep center. And it's not to say that I haven't done any, should we say, even RA, retail arbitrage in stores. I've done a bit, didn't really work with me. I've also had some shipments shipped to my house. I've actually had some shipped to my office, which went quite hilariously. They weren't very happy receiving them, but 99.999% has always gone to my warehouse. Now, the question you might ask is at what point should you use a prep center, what point shouldn't? I think the simple solution is that I'm saying if your money's running out and you've got spare time, you should probably not use a prep center. And the reason is because you've got spare time but no money, you can save that money and use the time that you've got. But the moment you start running out of time and you've got spare money to invest, you should be getting a prep center. Because quite simply is that you can afford a prep center, you can afford the fees, and you could be spending that time sourcing, finding better deals. Now, if I put it in perspective, when you find a great deal, let's say for example that deal makes you, I don't know, £10, £20, £30, let's say £100. In 1 hour you're sourcing it's £100. Well, technically in that hour you've earned £100 worth of profit. Now that £100 now gets diluted over the time it takes to inspect that item when it comes in, repackage it and put it back out again. So it might take you half an hour to prep. So that now isn't £100 an hour, that's now what? £75 an hour? Roughly, 66, I think it is. £66 per hour. So that dilutes your profit per hour worked. And that's really the metric you should think about, is how much is your time is worth. And prepping doesn't add value to your business. So hence, if you've got the money, but you're running out of time, prep center is perfect. Or you want to be remote.
Oh, awesome. And I think, look, it's a major discussion. You'd probably be here for an hour just discussing this point. But I think just to kind of add there, I'd really emphasize that it is super personal decision. I think really you've nailed it on the head in terms of that idea of if you've got time but limited money, then okay, it might make sense for you. And I'd really look at it from really time is the finite resource, and people don't seem to cost in their time though. That's the thing. People seem to go, well, if I prep then I can have lower margin per unit or whatever, but you got to remember like your time is probably even more valuable than money, I'd say. And really the other sort of thing I'd touch on is the idea of, well, prep's not just about time and money. Also, it's, for me at least as well, it's pretty shit to do. I mean, it's just a lot of like whole decision fatigue thing. There's a lot of stuff there. It's physical. Like I've had pretty bad back before. You got to be really organized. It's frustrating. And so for me, there's lots of things there. And this isn't to say I'm an avid prep center type person. I am now, but for the first sort of 6 months I was prepping myself. Didn't particularly enjoy it, but I did it because for me, like I didn't maybe have enough money, but the time was there, and that bounced around, and I probably should have gone to prep center earlier. But the thing is, you can probably find more ways of getting money, probably harder to do it with time. And I'd also say as well, what is the value of your time prepping? I mean, it's probably like a £10 an hour job max, really. I mean, maybe a bit more if you're managing it, but if you're working your day job as an accountant earning, I don't know, £20 an hour, and you're coming and prepping, you're probably better off just working more hours as accountant if possible, in theory, and then going and outsourcing that prep. So it's a tough one, but I would say for me personally, the one thing I can say is that I've noticed massive growth since utilizing the prep center, and I'm not going to say it's all down to that, but that's just what I found. So ultimately, you probably agree it's personal preference, but I think to sort of scale your business, probably something you need to be doing.
Yeah, definitely. And there's definitely a reason why both me and you use prep centers, and that's allowed us to live the life that we do.
Yeah, I mean, to be geographically free, ultimately it's essential. And I guess the other options would be to hire staff to do it, but for me, it's just more headache than it's worth. And it's the whole economy is a scale thing. Ultimately, you've got these facilities which are built to do it. I mean, you think of Fulfillment by Amazon. Look, how many people use Fulfillment by Amazon? The reason they can do it so cheap is for that economies of scale's reason.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. All right, so I guess another thing that's hot on the press, and I know you do a lot of work with VAs, so not so much in terms of hiring and training, but one thing I see is in terms of managing VAs. What would be your sort of, I don't know, top points in terms of managing VAs? And I guess really for anyone who's maybe not got VAs yet and thinking about it, what should they be thinking about before they go and jump in and get a VA?
Wow, a lot there. I won't lie, that is a lot. That's not like a top thing, that's a big question.
Maybe top 3 points managing VAs.
Okay, so first things first, I should probably just give you a little bit of background. Number one, I've done bar management for years and years. I've been a recruiter as well, so I like to think I know a little thing or two, but also as well, right now across 2 businesses, I've got 30 VAs. So we have quite a few, and I've actually got 2 VAs who do hiring of VAs, so it's quite a lot. And hey, I love my teams. I get, I've met half of them in person. I've flown to the Philippines, I've met them, and it's great. Like my business and my life today would not be what it is if it was not for them. And I'm generally grateful, and I'm thankful for all the hard work that they do. And I love the relationship we have. The calls I have with them when we have those meetings, I connect with my team, and I love it. It's not just a job, it's so much more. Now, I think, coming back to your question is, if you've got a VA or thinking about getting a VA, what kind of top tips? And we're not talking about the recruitment side, we're talking about the managing of them. I think, if I give you one really good analogy, and this is really only, should we say, for Filipino VAs because of culture. I haven't got experience outside of the Philippines. But if you were to say to your VA, who probably just started, hi, tomorrow I want you to go to the moon and do something, and then come back and give me like some moon rock, they'd probably say yes, and then they'd go away and figure it out. Now, what does that mean? It basically means that in Filipino culture, they will pretty much say yes to anything because you are the boss and we have it all. They will say yes sir to everything, hence going to the moon. But also as well, they'll then go figure it out. And it doesn't mean they actually understand what you've said or that they can even do it, but they're just going to tell you yes. And that's a cultural thing. You are the client, you are the boss. Whatever you say goes. So my top tip would be not just to tell them what you want, but to ask them questions, open questions, whereby it's not a yes or no answer. Get them to repeat it back in their own words, ask them to maybe explain how they understand if they've completed the task, just to make sure that that they know what exactly they want, that you want, sorry. And that's really, really important. So just making sure that they fully understand what you're asking, and they're not just sitting there going, yes sir. Because 1 week later, when you expect to see these amazing results, because they said yes, obviously they don't deliver. So that's a cultural thing. So really aligning, clarifying what you want. I think number two, and I talked about this with my teams. I get on with my teams. I love them all. I think they're brilliant. I always make a point of the first 5 minutes of every single phone call we have, because they're on Skype, is that I'm always asking, hey, how are you? How's the family? Something's going on, maybe like what's happened. I pretty much know what's going on in most of the people's lives, like, how's the mother doing, or like the husband or something. And it's just build that relationship. We can be so focused on this call, I need to talk about what stock we're buying today, or the profit and the revenue, for example, but it detracts from the human element. And when you're in an office, there's so much time you just spend chit-chatting, talking about stuff, that I really think take first 5 minutes of every meeting and really just get to know them on a personal level and put them at ease. Build that relationship. That's a continual process. So I'd probably say that the final thing I'd recommend is not so much about the end, but the beginning of the meeting. And I've started doing a lot now with my teams, is when we start a meeting, we're clearly defining what we want from that call. So it might be like, we are here to talk about revenue. Okay, well, what about revenue? Well, we're here to talk about how we can grow our revenue. Okay, well, what about how we're going to grow it? Well, we're going to grow it from, 10,000 to 20,000 per month. Okay, so we're going to create a 3-step action plan that we can implement that's going to grow our revenue from 3 to 10,000 pounds, or 10,000 to 20,000 per month. And the moment you've achieved that success within that meeting, the meeting should finish. We all have a habit of meetings just going on and on and on and on. No, once you've achieved your goal, finish the meeting, wrap it up, and move on. So be very clear about what you're doing in your meetings. That's a top tip, and my business is growing from it as well.
All right, well, awesome. Thank you very much for joining me today, Thomas. It's been a pleasure to have you on, and hopefully for you guys who've got something out of that. I think there's some really good information there, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, so hopefully you found that useful. And I did mention that I'm going to show how you can get a free strategy call worth £189. So check out the description. There's going to be a link below where you can fill out an application form to get a 60-minute call. We're going to do a deep dive into your business, look at where you're currently at, where you want to get to, and see if I'm a good fit to help you with that, but really just give you lots of value. There's going to be no obligation there. This has been really useful for a bunch of other sellers, and hopefully it's going to be useful for you as well. So if you're serious about your Amazon business, want to have a long-term sustainable Amazon business, this isn't what people just want to as a hobby. This is what people are aiming to get to, the sort of 10, 20, 30K a month eventually, even if you're just starting out now. But if you have a business already, then check that out. Besides from that, it's been Luke from iGen Entrepreneur. Hope you guys are well. Remember, you're just one blueprint away. Cheers.